Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Father Knows Something. That's right. We have a guest host tonight. Holly, as you know, is over here, but in the spirit of Holly, we have one of her cousins. And Pedro has joined us for this evening, and he's had a busy day today.
Yeah?
Yeah, you came home. Where'd you find him?
With the horses.
That's right. He's with the boys.
Meeting the horses, I should say.
He was a little, trying to figure out what these guys were all about. But mainly he was very cool. And then he didn't even bark at him. He just kind of looked.
He's an observer.
He is. So it's great to have him on the show. So he's going to help Justin come up with the answers.
Yes, a lot of wisdom sitting here next to me.
A lot of wisdom. In fact, it's really an interesting thing because I found that sometimes I've run across people that are very, very, very bright. Sometimes they're not as bright as they think they are, but they're bright. But what they do lack sometimes is wisdom. So I think we should all recognize that sometimes we may think we know the answer and we may think that we know better than what people are out there. Sometimes never underestimate the people that you're around because you may find out that they hold a lot of wisdom that you may learn something from them. So
that's right.
So there's the lesson of the day, and that's our guy right over here. That's good old Pedro.
Good to have him.
It is.
Are you curious about our theme by chance?
I am curious about our theme.
Well, we're going into insecurities.
What comes from insecurity sometimes?
Whole lot.
We're going to find out.
A whole lot of different situations.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Here we go.
All right.
Number one.
Hello, all. I'm a long-time listener, but first-time writer. My 26 female boyfriend, 28 male, has a girl best friend who just came back for a month from another country. I have a good relationship with her, and both of them have a good friendship too. I trust my boyfriend wholeheartedly, and I know this girl, BFF, let's call her D, also won't do anything to sabotage our relationship, so there's no fear there. My issue is with my insecurity. I grew up in a household that was extremely traditional, Muslim, not in America, so it was not normal for me growing up to see genuine girl and guy friendships. Now that she's here for a few weeks, my boyfriend visits her every so often, and they would have tea together. His work is in the same area where she lives, so he'd have a cup of tea with her. Her family is with her too. Due to my own limitations, it's difficult for me to go as often as he does. It's not normal to see guy and girl friendships for me, which triggers my insecurities a lot, that he can do much better without me, someone who doesn't have limitations like I do. These limitations are related to my mobility and mental health. I feel insecure that I'm not wanted around and I'm not needed, even though my boyfriend constantly reassures me and tries to include me wherever it's possible. I want to be able to move on from my insecurities and not feel triggered whenever he tells me he's going to hang out with her. I don't think it's about trust because I do trust him. There's an element of feeling left out. I have felt that a lot growing up and that my limitations are too much for a normal person. I've been with my boyfriend for over 3 years, and I love him a lot, and I don't want that whenever he's meeting a good friend of his, especially if it's a girl, that I feel the need to be included every time. I want to feel okay with the friendship they have. It has gotten better in the past 3 years, but it is still difficult. Any fatherly advice is much appreciated. Thank you.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
And I wish that she could answer this, but I know that she'll answer it to herself. Why do you think he likes you as his girlfriend? And then take that thought and put that in your head and say, if he didn't like me for that, then he wouldn't have me. So that's number one. Number two, I have friends that are women. I have no interest in those friends other than the woman that is in my life when they're in my life.
Yeah.
That who I want to be with. And they know when they're the one because I make sure they are aware of it. So it doesn't matter who I hang out with, what I do, because same thing with them. They have friends that are guys too.
Yeah.
And if they wanted to be with the guy, they wouldn't be with me. And that's as simple as it is. So let that be your confidence in reality, knowing that if they're with you
Yeah.
and they go visit a friend, that they're visiting a friend. And if you can be included, great. And if you works that day, great. It's great when you can all be friends.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it is, and sometimes it doesn't work. But that doesn't mean that he's into that person. Because I can guarantee you, I have women friends, ex-girlfriends that are some women friends of mine, and I'm just not into them anymore, or the other people I've never been into, but we are good friends. There's no sexual tension, there's no desire, there's none of the above. Zero. It's a flat line.
Mm-hmm.
And the person that is with me knows that they are my special person. And that's as simple as this. So I would just recognize that the fact he is with you, he's spending his love with you.
Yeah.
But if he's spending some friendship time, it's okay. Let them, you have to let your person to have their own time and their own friendships and their own relationship. They're probably talking about you anyways and positive stuff and laughing and having a good time. And then when the person meets you, they said, oh, we've had such a good, conversation. We talked about you and how wonderful you are. Don't always take it to be negative. Let's accept the positive, because if it was negative, he'd be gone.
Yeah.
He'd be history.
Well, and what goes along with that too, I think, is, sometimes you catch on to things and you can find out someone's cheating, and generally you'll know it or you'll be shocked by it. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you don't. But the reality of it is, if someone's going to cheat, they're going to cheat.
Absolutely.
You can't control whether or not they're going to cheat. So you trust someone until they give you a reason not to. And the reality is, it kind of takes all that pressure off and maybe removes some of those insecurities, which I know we're not talking about trust here, but this is just kind of where my mind went first, is when you're having some of those doubts and worries. I mean, the reality is we all fear our partner cheating. Like, that's something we are scared of and hope never happens. But when you trust someone and you just kind of let that fear not play a role in your relationship, and you can get to a point where you realize, hey, if they're going to do it, they're going to do it. And I just have to deal with it at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Or they never do it and you work out for the...
You never have to deal with it.
Right. And so that's one side of this. The other side is just simply, maybe it's a fear of missing out. Maybe it's a fear of being left out or not being able to do as much as he and other people are able to go do. But really it's, that might be something to address in therapy, as you're really good at recognizing you have these insecurities. You're not letting them take over you and have you almost self-destruct or take down or affect your relationship with him over it.
Mm-hmm.
You're just saying, this is how I'm feeling and I'm trying to figure out a way to deal with it. And that may be a little above our pay grade, just in the sense that, we don't know you on a deep level to help start rearranging those wires in your mind so that it doesn't affect you this way. So maybe therapy could help in that sense.
I would just continue to have more confidence in yourself, and that the value that you bring this fellow in the relationship, and he sees you for much more that sometimes you may even think you see yourself. Give yourself a little more credit and be a little more confident about who you are.
Yeah. Well, because that's the other piece of this too, is feeling like you're not good enough for him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're over 3 years in and he's showing you he loves you, he includes you.
Mm-hmm.
So the other side of it is recognizing what you do have instead of worrying about what they might be thinking. It's, take action over what you're maybe creating in your mind, that could help reframe a little bit.
Okay.
Ideal outcome, to not have these insecurities bothering me like they do right now. So yeah, I mean, you said it's gotten better over the last 3 years. I'm sure it'll continue to get better. Therapy can definitely help. And I'd just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, don't self-destruct yourself.
Yeah.
All right, we're moving on to number 2. And for Pedro, so he understands. Dos.
Sleepy guy over here.
He's just mellow, isn't he?
Chilling. Just chill. Good energy over here.
Yes, he's just got a real mellow energy. The whole family's got a mellow energy. So it's just that
he's on camera. He's not stressing.
Not in the bit.
No.
Not
He's just doing his thing.
Not in the least. Okay, let's go.
Number 2.
Yes, sir.
I'm 18 and I have a big group of friends from high school. It occurred to me the other day that out of all the friends in our group, I'm the one who's still single. This really bothered me for some reason because I feel like I'm late to the game because I've never had a boyfriend before. This insecurity really affects me when I'm on Instagram or TikTok and see some other girls in a new relationship and posting TikTok trends with her boyfriend. It makes me feel really jealous, not because I want their man or anything, but because I just wish I had someone to do dumb TikTok trends with. I know I only want a relationship because everyone else is in one, so how do I get rid of this insecurity? Rationally, I know it won't go away even if I did get into a relationship because I just feel insecure about other things, but I can't help wondering, am I just unlovable or something? Will I ever experience the romantic stuff all my friends get? Thanks so much for reading my dumb teenage struggles. Any advice would be greatly appreciated.
Boy, it's good to be 18 and free and young and growing, experiencing new things. It's wonderful. Don't put so much pressure on yourself. Don't go into a relationship just because you think that they have it and they're having a great time. They do. Everyone has a great time in the beginning, and sometimes they grow so fast that they don't grow at the same level, and you'll find these relationships come and go. So pace yourself. When it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And just go out and enjoy and experience everything you can with your friends. You and your friends. Just have fun. Don't pressure it. Somebody is going to see you, and all of a sudden, you're going to be seen. And then you're going to see yourself as a different person. And the interesting thing is you're still the same person.
True.
So, just be you. Be you, be you, and be you at your best. And just explore life. Don't put any pressure on yourself. Don't think any less of yourself than to the magnificent person that God has given us to be. You're fine. Just take it easy.
What I do remember about being 18 is I remember all these feelings and, yes, the insecurity when all your friends maybe are paired up and you're the solo one, or the reverse happens when you're the only one in a relationship and all your friends are single, out having fun, doing everything.
The grass is always greener.
It's always greener, but it reminds me of the famous quote that comparison is the thief of joy. And really what that's...
Who wrote that quote?
I think it's like Teddy Roosevelt or something. But really what that stands for is we can all go out and compare. Someone's always going to be better at something we're good at.
Absolutely.
Someone's always going to have a more successful business, more successful career, a nicer car,
more money,
everything.
Always someone, and that person that is better than us, trust me, there's always someone bigger and better than him.
There is, but it gets to a point where it helps frame things because everyone else is just players in the same game that we're all in. We're all just kind of moving through the game of life, finding our own way. And really, I think a big thing at 18 that then you kind of learn through your 20s is how to start working through those insecurities and figuring out who you are and
what makes you happy.
And kind of the whole essence of who you want to be and how you want to live your life. Because really, it almost ties into the other story where we were saying, kind of focus on what you do have. Because you know how we keep saying someone else has something better? Trust me.
They have their problems.
There's someone that has it worse, and there's someone that has it worse, and there's someone that has it way worse. So, take a step back and kind of look at your life and think, what do I have? Yeah, maybe you're the only one in the group who isn't in a relationship, but it's maybe not your time to be in a relationship. You haven't met the right person yet.
Change the way you say it. I am the only one that doesn't have to deal with a relationship.
It's all a matter of perspective because I think this is something we all learn as we go throughout life because we all want certain things. We have certain aspirations and motivations, and we look up to the people that already have those. And we almost admire and put people that already have those on this pedestal of this achievement that we hope to get to, which is good. It's good to be motivated. But really, when you start comparing, it never really ends up making you feel better.
When I look at people that have other things that I don't have, I never look and say, gee, I wish I were them and I had those things. I'm very thankful for who I am and what I have within myself. And I think that when you finally get comfortable with who you are and self, everything else is a bonus, what you get to experience or share with other people and things like that. But the most important thing that you have is you have self. And that has more value than any of these things that these guys, Bezos buying his $500 some odd million dollar yacht. Great. I wouldn't know what to do with it. Would it be great to go say, I had a $500 million yacht for about 22 seconds?
Right.
Maybe not even 22 seconds.
When you can buy everything, what's the fun? And when you make that next achievement and you're able to save up and buy it,
if you have a use for something, it's great to have something and be able to use it and enjoy it with whatever it does to bring your enjoyment. But you got to be able to do it comfortably without any stress. And that's the thing is go through life with the comfort of the simplest things. And whatever else happens is a bonus, but be delighted that you get to experience and enjoy life with your friends at the most basic, simplest levels.
That's right.
And then you'll have no issue.
Appreciate the small things.
Right. Doesn't matter what they have. Great for them. I'm glad they're happy. It makes them happy. It's not a problem. I don't treat any of my friends that have other items and say, go enjoy that.
Right.
Because that's sarcasm and that's negative. That's not really saying go have fun, enjoy whatever you do, whatever you get, enjoy it for whatever reason. And if one day you find you don't enjoy it, you'll get rid of it and go find something else that you enjoy.
Right.
I really do enjoy the people that are in my life. I enjoy doing this show. I enjoy walking the dog. There's certain things that are so basic.
It's the small things.
It really is. And they're the easy things. They don't bring on any stress or any pressure.
Yep.
And that's a nice way to live.
Like, hey, in the morning, guess I woke up, I get to experience another day. Ideal outcome isn't necessarily to get into a relationship, but to stop feeling insecure because I don't have one. I'm really happy with where my life is right now. It's just that I feel like I'm missing out on the romantic aspect of my life, which at 18, a lot of the relationships you have there and during that time are helping you learn what you like in a future partner. And oftentimes don't work out. Some do, some very much do. But really, if you force it, it's not going to be the same that if you just kind of keep doing your thing, live your life. And when the right person, the right moment, it all comes together, it's going to be amazing.
We all use the word organically. It will organically happen.
And nothing beats that. And usually it happens when you're not looking for it.
It's exactly when it happens.
And that's the best ever.
It truly is.
So patience, another big one to learn. I think we all learn that every single day. Probably up until the end.
Be patient.
Yeah. It's a big one.
Thanks for writing in. Let us know what happens with that one and how
Yeah.
you find your happiness and keep developing.
Yeah.
We're going to move on to number 3.
Number 3. It's a longer one here. We got a long read here.
All right, let's go do it.
Okay. I, 28 female, have been with my fiance, 29 male, for 7 years, 11 months engaged. Prior to getting engaged, we talked about weddings and what we both wanted. For me, I wanted to elope and save the money we would spend on a wedding to go traveling or for a house deposit. For him, he wanted a wedding, not only for himself, but also for his family, mainly because it was what his grandparents wanted. So I was open to it. I didn't want to disappoint anyone and also understood that if my grandparents were still around and wanted to see me get married, I would make it happen for them. Fast forward to a few months ago, I brought up that we should start wedding planning. Even though the thought of it overwhelmed me, I knew that if we did it in small steps, it would make me feel less stressed. So I asked my fiance to talk to his family about what they expected from us for a wedding. That's where it all went downhill. The conversation did not go well. I was very overwhelmed afterward, and it felt like I was having an out-of-body experience. To sum it up, we're expected to have a wedding with 200 guests. Half of the guests would be people I didn't know or have never met. It would be in 5 months' time, and his parents would take full control and plan and pay for everything, and we would just be puppets. I felt horrible afterward. I thought agreeing to have a wedding meant at least I could do it the way I wanted. After that conversation, the guilt tripping started. Everyone was pressuring us to agree to what his parents wanted and questioning us on why we weren't making a decision. Nobody understood that behind the scenes, we were falling apart. I was stressed to the point I was crying every night and having panic attacks at just the thought of a wedding. It was taking a huge toll on our relationship. We were fighting every night and not coming to any resolution.
Oh, that's not any fun.
That's when I chose to listen to myself and my body. I told him we're not having a wedding, that I shouldn't be feeling this way. It shouldn't be this hard. I should at least feel excited or somewhat happy that at the end of it, I would be marrying my person. But I wasn't feeling any of that. Surprisingly, he understood. He could see the whole situation was putting me under so much stress, and he didn't want that. We agreed together that we wouldn't have a wedding and we could revisit the idea later on if it was still something we wanted. But I said to him, even though this is what we want, I knew his parents wouldn't agree. They would still make us do something, whether it be having dinner with all their friends or planning a wedding themselves and making us just go so they could keep up their reputation. He told me he would go talk to his family and tell them that we weren't having a wedding, but he also said if they didn't agree with our decision, he would ultimately pick his family over me. Him saying that flicked a switch in me. An issue that we've had throughout our relationship was that I always felt like my opinion didn't matter and that I was always the one compromising. So when he said that, it confirmed all of it. My opinion truly doesn't matter. My heart was broken. I felt so stupid for wasting my time trusting that I was building a future with someone that I thought valued our relationship to the same level that I did, but he clearly didn't. At that moment, I was done. I switched off. He then put it back on me and said I would do the same if it was the other way around. He said I would pick my family over him, but I told him I wouldn't because at the end of the day, we were building a future together. We made the decision together to not have a wedding, and if my parents didn't respect that, then I would have to distance myself from them. After hearing that, he changed his opinion. He agreed with me, but the damage was already done. 7 months later, and I'm here. We've been trying to work it out. Our day-to-day life has been good, and he has been trying to make it up to me, but I still feel stuck. I'm no longer the person I was before all of this, and I don't see our relationship in the same way. I'll be honest, I don't trust him anymore. I always thought no matter what we go through as a couple, at the end of the day, we would have each other's backs. But this whole situation made me realize that wasn't the case. How can I trust that this won't happen again? How do I come back from having my heart broken? Do I break up with him and throw away 7 years? Or do I let it go and hope that if we were in a similar situation, he would protect me and our relationship? Ideal outcome. I want advice on how to move forward, whether that be to continue in the relationship and try and work it out or break up.
Wow. This is, there's a lot of dynamics going on here. I think that you would be happy if you want to even marry the guy, but if you do want to marry the guy, you would be happy to have something with grandma and grandpa and make them satisfied that they can be a part of it. But does that mean it has to involve a 200-person wedding if it's too much for you? No, it can involve going to the courthouse or going to someone who's going to marry you, standing in front of them, and have grandma and grandpa could be in the front row, whoever you want to have next to you, and a very intimate, small gig, and whatever you choose. You're just trying to get through the fact, is this your person? And that's step one. And in relationships, they don't always go smooth. And the longer you've been together, the more comfortable you are. You feel that you can voice what's really important to you, but you can't be criticized when you do it. You have to really be able to say, I understand your thought process. Here's my thought process. And we need to work through this. Now, this is a decision you're going to have to figure out. Can you guys work out the fact that you are more important than the rest of the people outside your nucleus?
Mm-hmm.
When I'm in a relationship and I've figured out who's my nucleus, no one's going to bust that. That is my nucleus. And that is, when I'm in that place, that's a beautiful place to be, because you really have your person that you guys can work together to achieve it. You may not always agree on how to achieve it because we're different. And that's the point. You got to be really able to listen to them, maybe even learn from them, hear them.
Yeah.
And it's going to be okay. Even if you may not get the way you wanted to do it, it might just work out just fine because you love each other and you trust one another.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that these people try to hijack your lives, and it was important that they don't look, some people may say, shit, let them go make the wedding and we'll show up. And some people say, that's not going to work for me. And you're the second person, the second type. I don't want them to go just make it and have me show up. I want to have a small wedding, or I want to be able to do it this way. And that's exactly what you should do and not change it. And if you can't afford to do a big one, you just do the small, intimate one. If they want to show up, great. And if they don't, oh, well. I'm sure it's important to him to have his grandparents there. And my hat's off to you to say, I can see the importance, but these are the constraints that we're going to do it.
Yeah.
And whoever wants to be on board with it, great. And whoever doesn't, oh, well, because remember, this is your nucleus. It's not their nucleus.
Yeah. I think that's a very normal experience for a lot of people, is wanting to have your grandparents, if possible, at your wedding. I mean, it's the biggest day. But that's no reason to have a wedding that you're going to dread and feel like a puppet in.
Mm-hmm.
It's no reason for your partner's parents to take over and, like you said, hijack your life, essentially, to where behind the scenes, you guys are self-destruct. I mean, you're destructing as a couple. Like, you're falling apart because of this.
You're imploding.
So there's a lot to go through here. And it felt like we had a lot of info at the start, and then we have kind of the biggest pieces felt like they went by real quick. And I'm so curious. I want more. I want to know, when you ultimately convinced him, for lack of a better term, to see it your way, which I do believe is the correct way to see it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know what the conversation was then. I want to, like, did he then go to his parents, and what happened with that? Have you seen them since? Has it changed the dynamics between you and his parents, or even him and his parents? Because we're 7 months later. I have to assume we've had some interaction. But yeah, I would have a very hard time getting past that moment, and it would replay in my head where he was like, yeah, I'd choose my parents. I'd choose what they want. And then all of a sudden there's this flip like, oh no, you're right. I wouldn't. Because man, it's so tough.
He found himself on the front door mat with the door locked.
Well, and it's, I mean, he could have had a real change of heart. That is possible. He could also just be agreeing to save the relationship and keep things normal and not lose you. So the things that I start to think about then, if we get to the point where we're like, okay, we're going to do a wedding and we're doing it our goddamn way. I am so curious to see what his parents and that dynamic is with you guys and them, him and them, because that's going to set the standard, and maybe it's already been set for other big things in life. What's it going to look like when you guys have kids? Or anything thereafter. When your kids have their first birthday party. When they graduate high school. I mean, this extends so far beyond just a wedding. We're setting a standard for, I mean, at least the rest of the parent's lifetime. And, that's why these boundaries need to be set. But even before all that, you're right. It needs to be, is this my person?
Are you okay if he breaks, if she says, something, honey? 7 years, I get it. We've spent together, but I recognize that this is not going to work. I cannot recover from that pain, and we got to move on. Is that okay?
Yeah, time together and history together is never a reason to stay together.
And what happens if they break up? There could be two different things. A couple things can happen. One, she can end up missing him and saying, "There's no way I'm going to continue not being with him. I know what he means to me. I want to be in that life." And at the same time, maybe he'll have some, hallelujah moments, and they can work it out. Or number two, they can break up and they can say, something? I don't even miss him.
Yeah.
Because that happens.
100%. It's going to be one or the other.
So, give it some thought and live what you think. Engage it and see what happens, because
it's been 7 months.
It's not healing. It's not going. It doesn't sound like it's healing.
Yeah.
It sounds like there's a gap, and in order to heal the gap, she may have to just, process this to say, am I prepared to move forward and let this all sink in? Because it's got to really sink in that what their life is without one another, and say, do I really want this person in my life? Or will I let this person out of my life? And, I've had this conversation before. I had that moment. I made that change. I said, I got to find out one way or the other what is going to happen. And at the end of the day, I made the right decision. Absolutely. Without a question.
Yeah.
And you move forward, and it allows your ability to get the right person, and it's honest and it's clean. So you have to make that choice. You may walk away, and next thing you know is, 2 or 3 months later, say, something, I really recognize that I could have worked this out, and I need to go see where that person is and see if we want to do it. And that then it's something to go talk about.
Well, one thing for sure is that the distance would get you your answer pretty quick.
It does. It really does.
But at the risk of potentially you miss them, you try to go back, it's not happening.
Well, it was a simple thing for him. He sided with his family, and it locked him out of your heart at that moment. But if you can't get that lock opened,
Right.
you're doomed. You've got to come at it from a way that you want it to be there, because you do discover that this person is the love of your life. In my case, I found that I made the right choice and opened the door for me maybe to find the love of my life.
Yeah.
Without that, it would never have happened.
That's why it makes me so curious what's happened since, because there's not really a great way to test if he's changed, to where anything short of planning a full wedding, how do we know if it's changed and that the parents are going to take over and he's just going to be like, yep, parents take over?
But what did change?
Apparently he agreed.
She changed. She had the switch go off. She has changed, and she has not changed back.
And she says she doesn't trust him.
She's not changed.
That may be the biggest statement of the whole thing.
So there's only one direction you can go. You got to push them. You got to work the muscle. You got to push the muscle, see what happens. See if it gets stronger. See if it just goes away.
Yeah.
We move on to a new one. So we wish you great discoveries and happiness. Either way, it's going to work out, because right now you're sitting in limbo and you're keeping score. And I always say, when you start to keep score, game over. So let us know what you do, please. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of write-ins on this one as well.
Yes.
So we look for your comments.
And this would be a great one at the right time to get an update from. And also, anyone else, if we've read your story, please go fill out our little update form. Link is in the description, at least on YouTube. I think it is on audio as well, because we are doing a updates episode soon, and those are really fun.
Okay.
Because a lot of these, like this, end on a cliffhanger, and you're like,
where are we?
What happened? What's happening now?
Where are we?
And it's always fun to find out.
So. I look forward to it.
Okay. Number 4. We do have a trigger warning. Story does mention miscarriage. So now is your opportunity to skip. Okay. Hi, FKS. So I need some help on how to tell my Bible study group that I am pregnant. Backstory. I am from South Africa and married my husband in the US. We live in a rural area in Pennsylvania. I found a great new church that really made me feel welcomed in an area where people kept me at arm's length. I also joined a Bible study group with some amazing ladies in an effort to make new friends and foster a sense of community. As I got to know them, I learned that one of the ladies had a late miscarriage very recently, and another and her husband have been having a hard time getting pregnant. Now my question is, how do I share my happy news of being pregnant with them without hurting them in the process? How do I take their situations into consideration? Ideal outcome, sharing my happy news without hurting them in the process.
A lot of things are timing. Everything in life is timing.
Mm-hmm.
How do you mention to people? I think people are still going to be happy the fact that you're going to go through an experience. I think it's just timing when you deliver it and how you deliver it. And do I have that answer? I don't.
Yeah. I guess it really takes knowing these people as you get to know them better of how you approach that.
And you also have to look at the fact that, they might be upset eventually if you don't tell them. Why didn't you tell us that you were pregnant? So you can say, in your conversation, I know we've all been, you guys have been through some hardship, and I don't want to, do anything to hurt your feelings, but I also don't want to make you angry with me if I don't share something with you. Yeah. And they'll say, well, what is that? And you'll say, I just found out that I'm with child.
Yeah.
And I don't want to tell you this to hurt you. I just don't want you to be angry if I don't share it with you, because it is a big moment. And, I think you make them part of your solution rather than fear that they're part of your problem.
Yeah.
Because I think, naturally they might just turn around and say, with the goodness, this is life moving on. And sometimes they have to do that. You have to say life moves on, goes forward. And for whatever reason, what happened to me, people always say, why me?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer really is, how do I move forward? How do I make this better? What do I do next? And that's what they have to do. They have to get through it. They may have to go through grief counseling. They may have to go through some other issues. Time heals. You just don't understand, why some of this stuff happens. But we've all
Right.
said, why me?
Yeah.
And the answer is we don't know. But what are we going to do about it?
Right.
And how are we going to move forward?
Yes. Well, and it goes back to the comparison discussion. But in this, yeah, I think it's definitely timing. It's being delicate.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think you having this amazing thing happen, it's great. And it's not taking that away from them. It's just inevitably going to be compared internally to them. If
Mhm.
they're struggling with that and they see someone, like another person they know got pregnant, it just, but that's not necessarily a fault of yours.
No, it's life.
And
Life is going to have it. They're going to experience people's coming up being pregnant. Can they hate everybody because they got pregnant and something happened with their child? We don't know, but you have to. When you do it, you can't spit in their face doing it, but you can say, I really do believe in the way it was approached. And I'm sure other people have other approaches as well. I just want you not to be angry if I don't share this with you, because it is a moment. And I know it's something that you guys might say later. Why don't you tell us?
yeah,
And
Yeah.
rather than go down there, I'd rather just, share it with you and just say that we're all a family. We all love each other. We're new friends. And we're going to get through all of this.
yeah. Well, and it seems like we're getting close and being open if we
Mhm.
already know this about the other members of this group. So, it's big news.
Mhm.
It is timing, and it depends on the people. And I think you'll know best how to approach whether you're, acknowledging the fact that of what has happened or not. It's a tough, very case by case one, because this can be applied in so many different aspects of life.
Mhm.
Oh, your friend just got fired, but you just got the best job ever. How do you tell I know this is different, but I think telling people good news about your life that relates to something negative that they just experienced is always difficult. And it's just in the way you approach it, you'll be the best judge of how it'll be received.
Yeah, I think that it's when you pitch it, it's not look at me. It's I just don't want you to be angry that I'm not sharing something with you, because we're friends and we only talk in honesty.
Yeah.
And I want you to know what's going on within me.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big deal.
It is. All right, let's roll on to number 5.
All right. Number 5.
Got it.
Hi, FKS family. I binged all of THT and listened to FKS all day at work. So there you are, Jerry. You're right there working right alongside.
Perfect.
I love your shows. Now on to my issue. I, 23 female, am going to grad school in September, and this will mean moving from California to Chicago for the program. My boyfriend, 25 male, has been very supportive as I haven't felt fulfilled in my current career. We've been together for almost 3 years and have lived together about 2 years. My boyfriend is from Chicago and misses his family, so that is partially why I chose to study there. We are debating between getting our own apartment in the city or living with his family while I'm in school. I've been to his house for a couple of holidays and have seen his parents when they visit us in California. His mother and sister are both very sweet, though I don't know his stepfather or brother very well. If we lived with them, we would not have to pay rent, which would be huge considering I can't work while I'm in the program. Although his family is very warm, I am nervous about potential conflict that may arise through living with them. Also, I feel that moving in with his family will negatively impact our sex life. We already have communication issues in the bedroom, and having a bedroom right next to his parents will not help. I haven't been able to orgasm with him, and it's been very frustrating for both of us. He used to try for so long until I told him we could just do something else. It was always awkward, and I hated seeing him so sad. He thinks I'm not pleased in the bedroom, but I still have a very good time, even without the orgasm. I've told him this, but I don't think he believes me. Now he'll half-heartedly try to please me or just skip that altogether. I try to tell him what I like, but he will get frustrated. We try toys, but he gets kind of offended, and we can't use them if staying with his family. So I guess I have 2 questions. 1, should we move in with his family to save money? 2, how can we improve our sex life? I haven't been able to discuss this with any friends of mine as I don't want to embarrass him. Any advice you have is really appreciated. So let's start with number 1.
Okay. Quite frankly, let's just take the issue with the family first,
Yes.
because that's the most important thing. You know, if you can manage to get an apartment where you guys can afford it and have your own environment where you're not bringing everybody else and the dynamics of what goes on in a family home into your relationship, as you know, you're still working on your own relationship, I would say get an apartment. That's my first thing is if you can do it, that's number 1.
Yeah.
Far as the intimacy side, there are many, all over the internet, there's advice on how to get each other off. And I would go look at it. I would look at, different things about how to achieve orgasm as couples. And and I don't know if you can afford a sexual therapist or not, but I would just start, going and searching how to achieve orgasms just through the internet. There's all kinds of stuff out there that's more therapeutic on how to do it rather than just saying, gee, let's go watch porn. I would certainly go take the educational side of it.
Yeah. I mean, I would say porn is probably the worst version of education you could get with any of that.
There are stuff out there on how to achieve orgasms and how to do, how to touch one another and taking the time and building. And there's all kinds of stuff that you can get educated. But at the end of the day, each one of you are individual and you're not always the person that your buttons are the same of what you're learning. So you're going to have to be able to talk to each other and he has to pay attention to what you like.
Yeah. These issues are separate, but they're also intertwined. They are, because it probably will only get harder for you guys to sort out the bedroom stuff while in the family home. It's not going to be as easy and comfortable to start exploring and figuring all that out. I think he is dealing with some insecurities regarding that, even though you're saying, hey, no, I'm totally happy in this relationship and this is all great. But he's taking it so personally as if he's failing and might think, oh, well, I can't be the one to do it, so someone else might have to be. But in reality, I think a sex therapist is a great idea. They're not always in person like you see in the movies. They're also virtual. Speaking of which, we have so many different write-ins that pertain to problems in the bedroom, or just sexually disconnecting, all sorts of different things. So we are working on having a sex therapist actually come on the show.
That'd be great.
And I think that would be really awesome. That can help personalize it to you versus some generalized stuff online. Ideal outcome here is for us to figure out a living situation that is affordable and allows us to explore in the bedroom. So, I think it is obviously best case scenario if you can find your own spot, if it makes sense for you. I mean, don't put yourself into super crazy debt just because you have to do that. But, and there's also the option, if you want to take some time to find the right spot, you can move in to his family's place temporarily. There's always that option. So Yeah, it's a multifaceted one.
And finding the right spot is also multifaceted. I had to.
Yes. Additional info, I can't ask my family for help with paying tuition or rent. My mom is very financially well off, but has held financial support over my head many times in the past. I will be paying for school with loans and have some savings, but I don't want to blow it all on rent. I also have a strange libido where I don't really feel sexual unless I've smoked weed or had a glass of wine. My partner has expressed concern over this. I've ordered libido supplements as I don't like feeling like I need substances to channel that energy either. So a lot to tackle here. Probably best with some sort of therapist.
I would say as therapist. There sounds like there's some things that are going on and, flags are rising. So I would certainly go investigate it and see, what's going on in your head and your freedoms with each other. And so if therapy seems to be something that, since you said, Dad, what's your opinion on it? I would say, I think that you bring in some professional assistance.
Yeah. I mean, it only can help.
Yeah. And I really do believe that it's because you guys are having some issues right now. Don't add to your issues by going into your future in-laws or his parents' home where there is going to be some, issues with noise or.
Yeah, it's harder for sure.
I mean, I can imagine if you were on the other side of the house and there was a garage that was remote and you guys
you're in your own wing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
not.
It's the bedroom next door, Jerry.
Yeah.
Right next door. Shares a wall.
I can get it.
So,
I got it. I got the picture.
There's a lot of exciting things happening. We're going to Chicago. It's an amazing city.
Mm-hmm.
Can have a good time. So I hope you guys can sort it out. And hey, if you end up at the family house, then just tell everyone, hey, our sex therapist is coming by. You guys got to go.
We're going to roll into number 6.
Number 6.
The grand finale, I think.
Is it?
Well, I was told you're doing 6 stories. So
Yeah, it is. It's the grand finale. I've been listening to a lot of your episodes I've missed lately because it seems to be the only thing that makes me feel okay.
Okay.
I found out this week my contract at the school I taught at this year won't be renewed for next year. They had their reasons, and some of them I don't agree with, but it feels so unfair that they didn't offer a plan of improvement. This is only my second year and first year at this school. There was a lot of protocol to learn and content I didn't have experience with that I didn't master as fast as administrators expected. My heart is shattered. I've had a horrible pit in my stomach all week, and I've dreaded going to work every day since I found out. I already decided to make a career switch at the end of the school year, but I'm struggling to stay positive. Some words of advice or affirmation would help. Ideal outcome, to feel okay again.
Take the lessons learned. Go on. Stay on your path. Do what you love. We all have failure in our success. In every resume of everyone that is out there that has been successful in life have had failure. We learn from it. We grow from it. It makes us appreciate everything more. If the journey was just a flying easy thing, we're not going to learn. Not to where you learn what not to do and how to make things better and how to make you a better employee to answer the questions that they have, what they want you to do and how to comply. Without the failure, you sometimes don't learn it.
Mm-hmm.
So don't take it as the word failure. Take it as the word growth. This is a growth opportunity. It's going to make you stronger, to make you better, and you're going to go on and you're going to be even a more wonderful educator. And that's where you have to look at it. But don't acquiesce to it. Don't say, it beat me. Don't get beaten. Get stronger.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, these administrators, these people just simply didn't appreciate you. I don't think they fully saw you for who you are.
Maybe they didn't know how to educate you. Maybe they're not that great of an educator or an administrator where they can actually train you and say, we see this. Can you come on in? We want to talk to you about it. We want to help you make you better.
Right.
That didn't happen.
Well, and a lot of times things that feel like failure aren't failure because of your doing. They're failure because of someone else's lack of appreciation for you or lack of understanding of you. And you just got to keep going. And I know you've said career change here. Wherever it takes you, you just got to keep going until you find that person, that company, that group of people that appreciate you and see you for you. Because clearly, whatever organization this was didn't. And that's not necessarily something that's wrong with you. It just means it wasn't the right fit.
I see this every day. I hear about it every day. There are good bosses. There are bad bosses. How do you tell who they are in the beginning? You just have to keep your eyes open and learn. And then you're going to realize the more you're with the bad ones, what made the good ones great.
Yeah.
And those are the ones you want to take with you, those lessons, because that will make you a better administrator and a better leader as you get older. Again, wisdom. That's how you get wisdom. You can't get it by the book. You got to get it by the experience. So everything that you're doing that might be setting you back a little bit, you are growing far more forward than you'll ever imagine because you're picking up the wisdom from it.
It's tough. It eats away at you, especially when you feel like you've been burned. And it's so hard to move past. But you realize eventually that those feelings do subside. And then you almost are upset with yourself for being so upset about it because it takes so much energy to be upset. And it's kind of time. And I love that you're starting to put a plan in place. Show up, do your work, realize that they're not loyal to you, whatever. Move on, and you're going to look forward. And I feel that whatever happens when you finish out this year or move forward, you're going to look back and be like, thank God that happened because I have found my favorite job. I've found my new passion. Maybe it pushes you to pursue that hobby that should be a career, and it's a life change. It happened for Morgan, and look where we're all at. So I think this is a really good thing. It feels bad. It looks bad right now, but I think it'll be a very positive shift for you.
That's right. Every bad right turns into be a great left turn. It just gets you on the different street. And you just never know where it's going to take you. But I've never had success without failure, and I've never had a failure that didn't lead me to success.
Yep.
So ride the train, ride the wave, ride whatever you want to call it, ride it. And you'll see it will be, it's going to be a great journey.
Yeah.
It's all the journey. It's not the destination, it's the journey.
And the low points make the highs so much higher. Okay.
Everyone, come over to the backyard. We're going to have Patreon. We look forward to seeing you there. And Pedro, thanks for coming on the show with us.
Sleepy guy over here.
He says, I'm ready to go home.
Time to say goodbye.
So, Pedro, Justin, Jerry, some people think, why does he call himself Dad? Because I am DAD. And we all love you, and thanks for joining the show. And we'll see you next week.